Okay, so we're going to continue matrix operations and we're going to do multiplication. So, to multiply a matrix by matrix, you're going to do what's called a dot product. So you're going to multiply each of these by each of these and then add those results. So 1 times 7 plus 2 times 9, I'm pointing at things so you can see it, sorry. We're going to do 1 times 7 plus 2 times 9 plus 3 times 11. And that'll give us this first entry. Alright, so, and you can see that here. Alright, so we're going to do that and then we'll move down and we'll do all of these by all of these to get this number. And then we'll do all of these by all of these to get this number. And you'll keep going. And we'll do an example in a minute. It'll make more sense. Alright, you don't have to write all of this down. Just kind of read through it. So, it's important that you understand that when you're multiplying matrices, that the dimensions are important. So when you look at the number of columns in the first matrix, that has to equal the number of rows in the second matrix, or you're not going to be able to multiply. Alright, so in general, if you're multiplying an m by n and an n by p, these have to match for you to multiply, and then the dimensions of your answer come from the ones on the outside. I can't spell dimensions, sorry, I think that's an I. Alright, so I would write this that I starred, I would write that down. Keep that in mind, that's the one thing that you need to write. Alright, keep in mind also that the order that you multiply in is important. If I try to do A times B and then B times A, they're not always going to be the same. There are occasions when they are the same. There's a lot of times where you can do both, but they end up with different answers. There's sometimes when you can multiply one way and you can't multiply the other because the dimensions don't match up. Alright, so here's two examples where we have the same two matrices. We just switched the order, and you see that they did the math and they got two different answers. So the big key, if I was going to write anything down from all of this, is what I put a star by up here, and the fact that matrix multiplication is not commutative. You have to multiply it. If it asks you to find AB and then find BA, you have to do both because they're two different problems. Alright, so we're going to do a couple of examples and we're going to start doing them by hand, and then I'll show you how your calculator can do it. I will expect you to be able to multiply a 2 by 2 or a 3 by 2. If it gets any bigger than like a 3 by 2, then I'll let you use your calculator. Okay, so if they want me to do A times B, so that means we're going to do this matrix times this matrix. Alright, I'm going to do my best to color code and all of that as I go, and hopefully that helps. Alright, so to get the first entry in our answer, well, first of all, let me back up, because what you should always do before you multiply is look. This is a 2 by 2, and this is a 2 by 2. So since these match, we know we can multiply, and we should get a 2 by 2 when we're done. Alright, I did not leave myself in the phone. I have to erase this. Alright, so we know we're going to get a 2 by 2. So I need enough room for 4 numbers, but also need to remember that I got to do all that math to get each one. Alright, so to get this first entry, we're going to do these times these. So negative 2 times 4 plus 5 times 30. Alright, so that gives me an answer of, negative 8 plus 15, 7. I know I need to move this guy because I didn't give myself enough room. Okay, so next, to get this, we're in row 1, column 2. So we're going to do row 1 times column 2. So it'll be -2 times -2 plus 5 times 2. So that's 4 plus 10, so 14. Alright, I'm trying to think of colors that are going to contrast that you're going to be able to actually see. Alright, to get this number, this is row 2, column 1. So row 2 times column 1. So 1 times 4 plus -3 times 3. So what is that? 4, -9, so -5. Alright, let me do this. So now we're in row 2, but column 2. So we're going to do row 2, but this time times column 2. So it'll be 1 times -2 plus -3 times 2, which gives me -2 and -6, so -8. And then we have our answer. We're done. Alright, so if you look at this step, you should notice that these match and these match. And then these numbers match, and these numbers match. So there's a pattern going on. Alright, so that was A times B. So what about if I do B times A? That is way too light. Let's do this ugly brown color. That is still gray. That did change. No brown. Okay. One more time. B times A. Alright, so that means we're going to do 4, -2, 3, 2. And we're going to multiply by -2, 5. And 1, -3. Okay, so again, this is a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. So since these match, we know we get dimensions of the outside guys, so 2 by 2. Alright, so making that go away so it's not in my way. We need to be able to show our work and then get an answer. Okay, so for this first entry, we're going to do row 1 times column 1. So 4 times -2 plus -2 times 1, which is going to give me -8 minus 2, so -10. Times 2. -10. As I said, that's not the color I want. Y'all, I can't, like, function today. Alright, -8, -2, -10. Okay, so next we are going to be in row 1, column 2. Row 1, column 2. So we're going to have 4 times 5 plus -2 times -3. So what is that? 20 plus 6, so 26. Okay, so now we are row 2, column 1. So 3 times -2 plus 2 times 1, which is -6 plus 2, so -4. And then last, we have row 2, column 2. So 3 times 5 plus 2 times -3. Which is 15 minus 6, so 9. So you see that they're not the same when you multiply in different orders. Okay, so number 2. If I want to do A times B, we are looking at 3, -1, 2, -2, 4, 0, times 2, 0, -1, 4, -3, 2. Alright, so the first thing is, can we multiply these? Well, this is a 2 row by 3 column. This is a 3 row by 2 column. So yes, they match. And I'm going to end up with just a 2 by 2. Alright, so I'm going to end up with a 2 by 2. I should probably smooth that over and give myself more room. And that is the 2 by 2. Alright, so first entry is this row times this column. So 3 times 2 plus negative 1 times negative 1 plus 2 times negative 3. And I still don't give myself enough room down there. Okay, so we're at 6 plus 1 minus 6, so 1. Alright, so now we're doing these times these. So 3 times 0 plus negative 1 times 4 plus 2 times 2. So 0, negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Alright, next we have these times these. So negative 2 times 2 plus 4 times negative 1 plus 0 times negative 3 is negative 4 plus negative 4, which is negative 8 plus 0, so we just get negative 8. Alright, and then last we have these times these. So negative 2 times 0 plus 4 times 4 plus 0 times 2. So we get 0, 16, and 0, so 16. Alright, so going the other way, we're going to do B times A, and I'm going to smooth up here. So B is 2, 0, negative 1, 4, negative 3, 2. And A is 3, negative 1, 2, negative 2, 4, 0. Okay, so we have a, what is this, a 3 by 2? And this is a 2 by 3. So again, these inside guys match. The columns of this match the rows of this. So we're going to end up with a 3 by 3 this time. Okay, we're going to end up with a 3 by 3, which means I need to be extra wide and extra long. Let's see if I can make it fit in there. Because if not, there's going to be a problem. Alright, so let's see what we can get. We have these times these. So 2 times 3 plus 0 times negative 2. Alright, I'm going to have to use more colors, which means that they're probably not going to contrast quite as much. Alright, so these times these would give me 2 times negative 1 and 0 times 4. And then we're going to do these times these. I'll go back and clean them up in a minute. I'm just going to try to get all of these. 2 times 2 and 0 times 0. Alright, so let's go back and just clean up those before we move on. So we have 6 plus 0. And then we have negative 2 plus 0. And then we have, what is that, 4 plus 0. Alright, so now we have these times these. So negative 1 times 3 plus 4 times negative 2. Then we would need to do these times these. So negative 1 times negative 1 plus 4 times 4. And then I'm going to run out of colors before we get done. This times this. So negative 1 times 2 plus 4 times 0. Alright, so going back to that row, let's see what we're going to get. We're going to get negative 3 minus 8, so negative 11. Then we have 1 plus 16, so 17. And then we have -2 plus 0, so -2. All right, so our last row. So we want these times these. So -3 times 3 plus 2 times -2. I'm going to go ahead and write these down as I go, so I don't switch my color too many times. So -9 and -4 is -13. Alright, so then we want these times these. So -3 times -1 plus 2 times 4. Sorry, my brain froze. So 3 and 8 is 11. And then last, let's call this dark gray. We have these times these. So -3 times 2 and 2 times 0, so -6. And again, if you'll look, you'll see a pattern in your numbers if you have it set up correctly. All right, now, real fast, if you have your graphing calculator or the app on your phone or Rabbit Emu on your computer or whatever, you're going to go to the matrix button. Let's see if I can make this switch and show you my calculator real fast. The screen just goes blank, I apologize. Okay, so if we switch over and look at this. Alright, actually I have no idea what those matrices were, so let me real fast to do this. Okay, so if we go back and we do A times B, if you go to right here it says matrix, so if you go second matrix, you have to go over to edit and then tell it you want matrix A. You have to tell it the matrix A is a 3 by 2. Alright, and then you can put in the matrix. So it's a 3, a -1, a 2. Did I say a 3 by 2? I said a 3 by 2. I clearly meant a 2 by 3. Let's go back up and fix that. A 2 by 3. Okay, so now I can put in my numbers. 3, -1, 2. And then -2, 4, 0. So then you have to do second quit and go back through that whole process. Sometimes you could just multiply faster than you can do this. I hit the wrong button. Alright, and then you get back over to edit and then down to 3. You have to go over and then down because otherwise it messes it up. So over to edit and then down to matrix B. This one is a 2 by 3. No, it's a 3 by 2. I told you earlier that I say those backwards a lot, and apparently today is the day for me to do it like all the time. Okay, so it's a 3 by 2. It's 2, 0, -1, 4, -3, 2. Alright, so then second quit again. Alright, now if you just go to matrix, and where it says name, you just tell the calculator I want A. And go back and tell the calculator you want B. And that says A times B. Hit enter, and it will give you the answer. If you want to do B times A, now that you have them in there, you can just go back and say I want to do B, and then A, and hit enter, and it gives you your answer. Alright, so on your homework, it'll tell you to do some of them by hand, but all the rest of them you can use your calculator if you would prefer. Okay, so we have one more example of multiplying. So let's see how this one's going to work. Alright, so if I want to do A times B, so first of all, if we look at A and B, and we 8 our dimensions correctly. This is easy, it's a 2 by 2. This is a 3 by 2. These do not match. So your answer here is cannot multiply. Alright, so let's come over here and think about b times a, because we can't do a times b, but that doesn't mean we can't do b times a. So we put b first times a. Then this is a 3 by 2. This is a 2 by 2. Those do match, so we should end up with a 3 by 2 as our answer. Alright, so with your calculator, you're going to try this one. Alright, so I wonder if I can let you see both of them at the same time. Okay, so assuming you can actually see what's on the screen, I think that's how I set this video up. Alright, so if I want to do b times a, so again we got to go in and tell it what the matrices are. So when I edit this one, we're going to say that it's a 3 by 2. I feel like it's not. The lighting is weird. Okay. So it's a 2, 0, -1, 4, -3, 2. Alright, so then we second quit, and we go back through the process and say that, actually I put B in for A, didn't I? 2. Okay, that's fine. Just remember that we put B in for A. I'm looking at it like this, and I called that A and that B. That's cool. Alright, so the next one is a 2 by 2. And it is -2, 5, 1, -3. Alright, so remember I put them in backwards, so we're not going to do B times A, we're going to do A times B in my calculator. And it will give us an answer of -4, 10, 6, -17, 8, and -21. So, if you have the calculator, you do not have to multiply by hand on the second, probably 2/3 of your problems. I just want you to do a few of them by hand. Alright, I think, oh that's not it, because I forgot this was here. Okay, so for problems like this, I absolutely want you to do this with your calculator. Alright, so what this is actually asking us to do is multiply A times B, multiply B times C, and then add them together. Well, there's no reason to do all that by hand when your calculator will do it for you. So again, let's see if I can make this be visible without holding my calculator all wonky jawed. Okay, that seems better. Okay, so going back to matrix, we're going to edit, and I'm going to do them correctly this time. We're saying that matrix A is a 3 by 2. And then we have 4, 0, -3, 5, 0, 1. Alright, so then we go back out of there and then back to our matrix menu, over to edit, and tell it that B is a 2 by 2 and has the numbers 5, 1, -2, and -2. Second quit out of that. Go back to our matrix menu, over to edit, down to matrix C, which is also a 2 by 2. with the numbers 1, negative 1, negative 1, and 1. Alright, so now we're going to tell it, like make our calculator look exactly like this. We're going to say take matrix A, and then matrix B, and add, and then we'll do matrix B times matrix C. And hit enter, and it tells me that I cannot do that. So let's check, because I thought when I made this problem that you could. A times B, oh, that's because your answer is not going to be this. You can't add them. I made sure you could multiply it, make sure you could add. You can multiply these two, because it's a 3 by 2 and a 2 by 2. You end up with a 3 by 2 though. Multiply these, you're going to get 2 by 2s, and you can't add a 3 by 2 and a 2 by 2. So you still get the gist. Plug them all in, make your calculator say exactly this, and then you'll get your answer. Okay, you can also think it through and make sure that it's going to work, because I'm sure the book's going to give you one that won't work at some point too. Okay, if you have questions, please let me know. If you don't have a graphing calculator at home, it can all be done by hand. It's just tedious. You can wait until you come back to school to do the graphing calculator ones. If you're quarantined, you're going to be out for a while, then you need to maybe contact me about getting a graphing calculator for a few days, so you have that opportunity. All right, let me know if you need anything. Oh wait, here. Yeah. I was making sure. We're done.